Hi, everyone. My name is Juliana Curcio. I am one of the co-founders of Manhattan Artist Crossing, Max Studios. And today we have an extremely special guest, especially if you are a young artist or emerging artist in the opera world, or if you already have an established career. We have the wonderful and brilliant Melissa Wagner today to talk all things audition, videos, and young artist life. Melissa, thank you so much for coming here today.
It's such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Before we get into anything, I just want to do a quick little intro here. So, Melissa, you are the executive director of the Metropolitan Opera's Lindemann Young Artist Program and the L'Enfant Competition. Since joining the Met's artistic staff in 2011, you've guided countless singers through their journey from initial auditions to major opportunities. You're originally from Orchard Park, New York. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
You studied vocal performance and music business at the Crane School of Music, right on, at SUNY Potsdam, and earned your master's from the Manhattan School of Music, with additional graduate studies at Bard College. Beyond the Met, you are a respected adjudicator, having judged international competitions such as the Belvedere Competition, Opera's Golden Voice, and the Nicola Martinucci Competition, as well as U.S. competitions, including the AIDS Competition, Nats Competition. You serve on the faculty of Ravinia Sains Music Institute and have been a visiting faculty member at Bard College's Graduate Vocal Arts Program. You are also an active member of Opera America and a frequent guest speaker at conservatories, universities, and summer festivals across the United States. Woo! Okay. So you know stuff.
I've been around.
So first question, Melissa.
Yes.
Can you tell us how the young artist's life has changed from 2011 to now?
Ooh, I think the whole industry has changed a lot in that time. And so in order to participate in that changing industry, young artists have to adapt as well. Certainly one of the big changes is the rise in social media. By the time I started at the Met, they had already been doing the HD broadcasts. Mm-hmm. So that was already in place. That was sort of a preliminary shift to allowing artists to think about how they're represented visually. And in digital media. If Peter Gelb hadn't thought to do the HD broadcasts, we would probably be in a different moment now with social media, almost catching up like double speed. Because I think that was one of the things that really got artists thinking about what should opera look like on film and what should opera sound like.
The HD video performances were a great idea.
It was really essential. You know, HD, it changed it all. Another thing is, before the pandemic, on the adjudication side, we weren't very well informed about how to adjudicate recorded audio and video. It had been around, so we've always used these tools, but as on the adjudication side, we had a lot of beliefs about how do big voices record? How do small voices record? That we never really challenged. We never looked at, I think, as like a group. Then, of course, the pandemic hit. Everyone started to think differently about the way we utilize video and audio, also in a space of equity.
Right. And so you would say that now the use of video and audio is so important. How the young artists, and I keep saying young artists, but really singers, the way they present themselves in the video, in the audio, is extremely important, way more than it was in 2011.
Now we know more, so we need to do better.
And when you say we need to do better, that the quality of the audio and the video needs to be better, or that on the adjudicator side, they need to look at it in a different lens?
I think both.
Okay.
I think it's something that isn't going away and shouldn't go away as an evaluation tool, as a screening tool, but also as content. If opera doesn't produce digital content, then we won't be able to be featured on social media, and we're going to be completely left behind in this industry.
You do check the socials of singers.
I refer to the socials of singers if I'm looking for information, because some singers don't have websites that are as up to date as their social media, and vice versa. I'm going to Google and see what comes up first. If it's YouTube and if it's their own channel, then I assume whatever I see on this YouTube channel is something they endorse because they uploaded it. People have their season announcements on their social media. And so if that comes up higher in a search, I'm checking that. Or I'm checking if it's someone who's more established, something like Opera Base. And other people have really up-to-date websites.
When you press play on a video, Melissa, what's the first thing that catches your attention?
When I'm adjudicating the L'Enfant competition first round, which is the qualifying round, I have a strong system of guidelines with my colleagues that we also review them. And we start by really watching and listening to the video, especially for the first 45 seconds to a minute. We are receiving what they are offering. We use the same set of headphones to review everyone. We use the same laptop or device to do that as well.
And when you say same device, this is something that comes up a
Mhm.
lot. Are you checking the singer on your phone, or are you checking the singer on a laptop?
I'm on a laptop.
Mhm.
Most of the time, I have a YouTube. It depends. The system that we use, we can watch it within that system, or we can watch it where it opens in the YouTube link on another window. But after I give that first 45 seconds to a minute of observing them, I also think it's really helpful to start listening only. Different people are able to share different things simply with the voice. And then also some of them engage differently when you can see it as well.
Now, let's say it's a particularly long aria. For example, it's the Queen of the Night. Are you forwarding to the part?
I personally am not.
Okay.
We only require one aria.
Yeah.
We feel like with one aria, you are sharing with us what you think is your best. So it's our obligation to pay attention to that. That is like our commitment to doing our part of the job. I can, of course, rewind if I want to remind myself how someone's saying something. And I do go back and I watch videos over again. I will sometimes message a singer and say, hey, I just want to let you know that the audio really dropped out at this like timestamp.
Okay.
Or it looks like you have like a second take in here at the end that you might not have wanted to include. Didn't affect your submission,
Right.
but I'm letting you know in case you send it to someone else.
That's so nice of you.
Well,
it really is.
I mean, I am spending the time, so I
Right.
feel like I should share it.
I really liked that you said sometimes you don't watch. I'm just wondering, how important is the visual, for instance, the background?
Yes.
Or even the quality of the visual? How much does that sway you another way or the next?
Another part of the Lafont competition reviewing process is that we really make a commitment to not be swayed by the quality of the tech.
Okay.
That we are trying to kind of hear through what the technical limitations are because of equity issues.
Right.
Some people can afford better spaces and equipment than other people. I would say the majority are with a phone. And that's totally fine for our purposes. We also tell them that they can use like an app-based electronic accompaniment of piano or an actual pianist.
Do you like when the pianist is in the video?
I mean, I do like when the pianist is in the video. I would prefer to have a really clear view of the singer with a bit of the pianist in it versus like a perfectly framed shot that's really wide and then I can't see the details of the singer. For me, ideal is like the 3/4.
Okay.
Like somewhere around the knees and up. I know
Okay.
some people prefer to see a whole body because they want to see the way the singer is like grounded. Some people, I know some stage director colleagues, they also are thinking about really being able to see if the singer is taking a couple of steps. For my purposes, especially with Lafont, I'm really focused a lot on the way that they are musically and interpretively connecting through the level of technique that they have and their vocal gift. I will say though, the human aspect of this, all of us, we're all forming opinions and judgments on things all the time,
Right.
right? The speed at which someone is walking down the subway steps, I have an opinion on,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that sort of thing, or how someone is behaving in a checkout line. At a subconscious level, if someone has taken the time to make sure that, you know, there's enough light on their face that I can see them, that they have taken items out of the back of the video so that I
Yes.
don't see a backpack and
A
other
water
things.
bottle, something like that.
Right. Or if they're in a classroom that maybe they erased the whiteboard behind them. Those are things that show attention to detail that I just think on a subconscious level, we start to associate that with a different level of professionalism.
Right.
Now, those things also don't cost money. It's attention to detail.
Well, even down to their attire, let's say.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, a wrinkled shirt versus a not wrinkled shirt.
Right.
This is a pretty big question, Melissa, but what are you looking for in these videos that would advance somebody into the competition? Like, what do you want to see from these singers?
So specifically with Lafont, we look for the same big categories throughout the whole competition, from the qualifying round all the way through the grand finals. All of the judges are tasked with this. It is the voice itself and how it's being used. So, you know, technically, is it appropriate for the repertoire they're singing?
Yeah.
Technically, are they in a place of development that matches what they've listed on their resume? Are they utilizing the strengths of their specific instrument? Are they singing to those strengths or are they not? So that would be the voice.
Okay.
Then there's the musicality. Are they taking the music off the page with the way that they're performing it in stylistic ways? Is it accurate? Are
Right.
they singing the right notes? Does Mozart sound like Mozart? And interpretation, dramatic interpretation. Am I seeing a specific character? Are they able to do that in an operatic way?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last category is career potential. At what level of our opera ecosystem can I imagine this voice kind of excelling and finding a home?
You said, are they expressing in an operatic way?
Mhm.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. I think there's so many different ways to dramatically interpret any piece. And I think so many of us are not exposed to very much opera, as much as we might be to musical theater, to pop. A lot of the dramatic background that people have is more of a musical theater presentation versus the way that you can utilize the music itself in opera. There's so much already written in
Right.
there to be responding to even just the rests or certain chords or harmonic progressions. Those are all things that we can dramatically respond to
Right.
in a way that's different than if you're coming from a straight theater or musical theater background. It kind of shows me, have you started to connect with opera as its own exciting art form?
Melissa, you said something about the criteria that you're looking for in these videos. Now, are you looking at that criteria in that order of that list?
For the LaFont competition, it's weighted equally, like 25%.
I'm so glad you said that you weigh them all equally, because we have a lot of singers that come in here and they really are so focused on their voice. And while we know that's really important, there are just so many other things that we want to get out of their videos. So something that we do here, once they get a good takedown and we say, listen, you have a great take. Now let's do a fucking take. Okay. And basically we say, just go for it. Whatever you want, just anything dramatically, anything artistically, just go for it. It's a it take. And it's usually their best take. Anyway, what are the do's and don'ts of the video recordings that you see?
Do pay attention to the background details of your video. Do check the take. If you're not working with people in a studio, listen back, especially at your loudest and most quiet moments, vocally and pianistically, to make sure that it's being picked up on the devices well. And just give it a once over for the lighting. That also brings me to one of the things that I notice is I think many singers actually don't watch their videos from start to finish before they send it in. Label the file name so that you make sure you upload the right one with the aria name and with the take. And maybe that you always label the ones that you're going to send as 101. Doesn't have to be Devieni non tardar, great take.
Right.
I mean, and let me tell you, I'd prefer that and have it be a great take than that feeling where I'm like, oh, I don't know if this was the one.
Dave Yanni, maybe.
And then I think also, like you said, it is a visual medium. So making sure that you and your pianist are kind of dressed in the same vibe, that you've communicated that. I personally don't feel that you need to wear a gown or a tuxedo, especially if you're like in a basement in front of a curtain.
Sure. Right.
That feels a little
disjointed.
And also then it makes me instantly start thinking about what else is disjointed. Also, make sure that the piano has been tuned.
Okay.
So if you're renting a space, if you are in a practice studio, I see a lot of videos in churches, do ask, when was the instrument last tuned?
Yeah.
Is that something that I could pay for in advance of the recording? Because it will affect your intonation while you're singing.
So it's really check your work.
It's a lot of that.
And prep work.
Yes. And have reasonable expectations of how much you can record in how much time.
Yes. I mean, listen, we get people coming in here and they can really do a marathon, but it's rare. It's better to do less with more time. I think so.
What have you found is reasonable within an hour recording session?
If they're short, 3 max. If you have one long one, and when I mean long, I mean 4.5 minutes, then one other one, really, because you want to do not as many takes, where I say if on the fifth, if you're not there, then it's not the day for that aria, and that's okay. It happens all the time. But I would say if you have an hour, then 3 at max, really.
Yeah. And how long does your post-process work before you can get those files to the singer?
We do have a service where we can get them to you automatically, but we usually can get them back to you within 2 days, 3 days.
This isn't a commercial,
Right.
but it's helpful for singers
thank
to
you.
realize that there is a multi-day expectation of waiting. So if they contact you the day before an application is due, in many cases, it will be too late or could be too expensive for them.
Right. And we do get those singers that after they're finished, they say, listen, I need to submit this tonight. For the most part, I will say, singers say, can I have this in 2-3 days? And we can get it to them for sure.
And that's great. It's part of that bigger thing of the deadline of the application. I always say put your calendar reminder in like a week before that.
Yeah.
So that you know that you have all your materials together by then. Then it's really your final review of your materials.
Right. Because if you do have that deadline later that night, you can't take the time to review what we send you, because we just don't send you the final. We send you your takes, and then you choose what you like best, and then we edit that for you. You should really sleep on that. If you could give any advice to a singer before they walk through the door, what would it be?
Trust your preparation.
Walk us through the first 5 seconds when a singer enters the room. What immediately stands out? Does their entrance affect your first impression?
If I'm being completely honest, when we are adjudicating, and now I'm talking more globally, any kind of time that I'm hearing singers live, whether it's a competition, casting, whatever, a lot of the time when you're walking into the room, we are just getting our materials situated over to what you're doing. We're not always there watching every motion. Now, some people might be different. That's just my general perception of having done this for a bit. Now, some people, from the second that they enter the door, they have a sense of confidence or even an eagerness that they're excited to be getting to perform for us. I mean, because I think of it as mini performances. You can sense that energy right away.
How does that make you feel?
That draws me in because I'm excited then to engage with that. We have mirror neurons, right? So we tend to mirror the people that we're seeing and engage with them in a similar energy way. The other thing is sometimes we are in the middle of talking about what has just happened with the previous audition. We only have those like 5-10 seconds between singers entering the room to also figure out what's going on, right? So sometimes if the panel is discussing something to themselves, give them a second. You could always say, good afternoon. Depending on the energy in which that is offered, I think that can be really helpful.
But I love what you said, how sometimes even if you are distracted, but if they just have that energy, you sort of look up and it makes you eager to hear them. Okay, controversial topic.
Yes.
How much does physical appearance truly influence how a singer is perceived in the auditions?
It depends what they're auditioning for. So it depends, I think, the lens through which that adjudicator comes from.
Okay.
And especially if you're doing an audition for a casting opportunity, frequently there are some prescribed details to the casting that might be something that people are looking for. And sometimes it is, we have to find a cover who is within 2 inches of the principal singer.
Sure.
Now, if it's like a casting audition for a house, that's going to be communicated in advance. In general, what your personal vibe is, some people are good at bringing aspects of that into their audition because it's important to their artistry. Some people haven't quite sorted out the details of their personal style. And in those cases, I feel like it's really helpful for them to go for more of a classic look. I always advise singers to ask about the formality of the dress of the day. Even in different international auditions, there's going to be a different level of formality. In some places, jeans and a button-down shirt is fine for a major house audition.
Right.
At other houses, that would be looked at as slightly disrespectful. I do feel like this has definitely evolved a lot. I mean, if Pavarotti showed up in shorts and a Hawaiian shirt, he would still be hired.
Right, exactly.
Right? He could do an audition with a bowl of pasta in his hand and he would be hired. But this is an industry overall where there are more singers trying to be hired than there are jobs doing that research in advance, finding out any details about the opportunity that you're auditioning for is helpful. And then has someone thought about the way that they're presenting
Right.
themselves that day?
Yeah.
Now, I remember when I was singing, I got caught in the rain one time without an umbrella, and I got kind of pushed right in the room. And
Yeah.
in those situations, I said, I'm so sorry. I, just got caught in the rain, and I apologize for my appearance, but I'd like to perform this for you.
Right.
And in that short second, I decided to not think at all about the fact that my hair was slightly wet. And, my dress was not as smooth as it would have been if I had remembered an umbrella. I just decided to be in the moment.
Right.
And to connect with the art and the artistry. And I think ultimately that's what we all want to see in the auditions.
It was your fuck it moment.
It was my I got myself all the way down here. I'm going to do it. I always say it's the ability to change the room. When you are really connecting with your performance and trusting that preparation, you change the room and people forget that your hair is wet, that your dress is wrinkled, because they are so engaged with you in that moment. Now, that's hard to do.
We're going to call this interview The Ability to Change the Room. What a great quote. That's so powerful. Really.
And that's what opera audiences respond to.
Sure.
Not everyone there has been to the opera before.
Right.
But they recognize excellence when they're in the presence of it. And they recognize that deep, deep connection to the material.
I'm learning. Okay, moving on. Is it better to audition earlier in the day, later, after the lunch break, on the first day or the last day?
This is a question about you need to know yourself.
Okay.
You need to know your own tendencies. You need to know when you excel.
Okay.
And the key is to have your consistent level be really good no matter who, what, where, when, and why.
Okay.
I mean, most of the time, because this is an international art form, people are getting off of planes and they don't even know what time zone they're in.
Right.
And they're showing up and they're doing a thing. So there is quite a bit of preparation with just how do I do my best no matter what the situation?
Right.
But if there's certain things that you know about yourself, ask if you can go in the afternoon. But those are things that you can just learn about yourself, but also remind yourself that flexibility is important as well.
I love a good 2:00 audition, a good 2 or 3,
I will say generally judges are happier after lunch.
That makes a lot of sense. You don't want to go right before lunch, When it comes to opening arias, should singers lead with their safest piece or their boldest?
They should lead with their best.
I think it was Carlin Graham that told me, she said, and I think this really goes for everything on your audition package. Everything on there, you should be able to wake up in the middle of the night and sing.
Yes.
And there should be nothing on there that gives you pause, or else it's going to influence your entire audition. And that is so true. There are times I put stuff on there. I'm like, oh, please don't choose this. And that is what I'm thinking about the whole time.
Of course.
Yes.
And it affects the way that first piece went.
Right. And
you have to continually keep that aria package at a high level.
Okay.
If you're in the auditioning phase of your career.
What do you mean by high level?
That you have gone back through and know that you know the word for word translation. Musically run it through.
Everything's fresh.
Yes. That you're not oh yeah, I sang that a year and a half ago. I'm sure it'll be fine today. Everyone has their rituals. I know some people look at the text of all their arias on the morning of an audition and they make sure that they can say it all from memory, or they visually look at the page, or they look at the music and it's highlighted in a certain way that it helps an imprint in their brain. Some people visualize the audition before it happens. There's so many different ways you can prepare, but I think that's what I mean by keeping it fresh. There are so many things that you can't control about an audition. Right. And about live theater. That's what makes it exciting. It's important to think about what can I control and then work on engaging with that level of preparation.
Right. What is going through your head when you're choosing the second aria?
So a lot of the time I'm looking to see what else the singer can do.
Okay.
And sometimes that's because I'm trying to figure out the entire range of that artist. Sometimes I'm trying to figure out, is the first aria really the best thing that they do? Or is there something else that they offer that maybe is just a slightly bit more in a direction that they're more suited for right now? A lot of time I'm looking for contrast and not just legato and coloratura. It's also characters. to see if they can bring a different energy
Sure.
to the piece.
Really want to ask, do arias trend? Are people still singing Things Change, Joe? Remember when that was the thing?
Yes, I live in this life perpetually.
Are you sick of hearing Ikiyama no Mimi? Because you have to sing that.
I do find that there are ebbs and flows with certain arias. You can see that there are trends.
Right.
Like you can see that someone's saying something at Operalia, and then I get a bunch of recordings of it. Or the Met competition.
Sure.
The thing about opera, this has endured for centuries.
Right.
So if I was someone who got sick of hearing Voi che sapete or Mimi, Juliet, Papageno, we listen to everything and we are excited to hear it done really well. That's what we're there for.
What are you hoping to see, to hear?
I'm hoping to see and hear someone in their element. The other thing is that I love it when someone is showing me who they are today and they're not asking me a question with their audition or with their audition package.
Would you say, put the things on your audition package that you sing well, not something that you think you're going to sing well in the future or something that you think that they want to hear because it's flashy?
Definitely the one about flashy for me personally.
Okay.
I've heard people learn really complicated, obscure arias that can show a certain level of skill, that can be impressive, but I also want to hear you sing something simply well. A beautiful, simple, expressive moment is as powerful as a huge amount of vocal fireworks.
Right. Because I think a lot of singers will sing something and will say, oh, it just feels so easy. So then we think it's not good enough, but it's supposed to feel that way because that means it's for you. And like you said, then you're in your element.
Yes.
And just because something is easy to you, let's say you sing coloratura really well and it's so easy for you. Well, that means you should be singing it. But for that singer next to you, it might not be. And maybe you struggle with something that's long and legato, but that singer next to you, that is what they do. So do the thing that you do well, is what you're saying.
Yes, and I will say this is a tricky shift for some younger singers to make because the academic world trains us to be generalists. We're learning a lot about a really wide amount of repertoire and of centuries, right? But the career is about specialists. The career is, if you're lucky, singing 5 roles professionally for the first 5 years of your career and adding in a couple of roles every few years. It's not being able to sing Monteverdi all the way to Adams, to Puccini, and everything in between, and Wagner. I mean, we learn about all of that, but that's not what careers are. So that's the hard part, is realizing that a professional audition is different than a jury. An academic jury, you really are sometimes showing that you have this broad knowledge.
Right.
Read carefully what you're applying to, what those requirements are. And sometimes it will be something that wants to see really flashy things and different arias in every round of competition that requires, a huge amount of repertoire. And if that's not you, don't enter.
Don't do it. Right. And I think more so, it's okay if that's not you. And
Absolutely.
I think singers just put so much pressure on themselves to be that thing. And it's okay if it's not you.
Yes.
What is something that young artists need to know in this career that maybe they're not learning at their universities and colleges?
I mean, let me start by saying I would not be sitting here without incredible teachers. And I have so much respect for people who choose to teach and carry on this tradition. There is no way that anyone can ever be fully prepared for this career based on an academic degree. And that, I think, itself is the important thing to know. And even for people in school, if you do everything on the syllabus, you're still just at the same level as your peers. You have to go beyond, right? If you're going to stand out. And also, you need to chase your own curiosity. Where does this career path lead you? It's led me to a different place than you, than has led to so many other people. But we started off as students singing in Potsdam, New York.
Right.
So But truly, it's that's the thing, is knowing that no one is ever there to give you all the answers. Really listen to the ones who feel like you are connecting with them. They understand you and what you have to offer. And then bring your own kind of passion and curiosity to where all of that leads for you.
I love that. Okay, one last question. Okay, Melissa, what are your 2 to 3 favorite arias? No, it's okay.
Oh,
Or just one or two of all time that you just, when you see it, you're like, I'm choosing that.
really for me ends up being kind of a contrast
Okay.
to what we've been in a day. Like sometimes there will be an hour where it feels like we're listening to a lot of like really dramatic legato things. And then I get like torna mia vagheggiare.
Okay.
And I'm
You're
like,
yeah.
woo. But then, if I get a bunch of torna mia in a row, then I'm going to hear like il est doux, il est bon. I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
oh. So for me, it's about, again, changing up the energy.
Contrast. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Melissa, thank you so much for coming here and talking with us today. I just know your insight into the opera world and into the young artist world is going to be so important for these young singers and singers that have their career already started. So thank you so, so much. Really.
Absolutely.
It was
Thank you
so
for
lovely
having
having
me.
you.
And to everyone out there, keep creating art. Keep doing this. The world needs you now more than ever. And I think opera is such an important art form that it is our duty to keep it alive for the next generation. So keep doing what you're doing with joy.
Here, here. Thank you.